From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between, this is the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 Podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game. Here we go, and we are live. We are back. Episode 145 of the 50/50 Podcast, powered by our proud partners at TexasVeteranRealtor.com, Jeanette Spain at TexasVeteranRealtor.com. Make sure you go check her out. Doing some great things. Love having her on as our title sponsor, as well as with our great friends at Gipper. And we are live again here, coming to you live from beautiful Moody Gardens here in Galveston, Texas, at the 2025 TASCO, Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention, and I am now joined by some Texas high school soccer royalty here, right? Not one, but two, right? So I am joined by Coach Bruce Reichman, as well as Hall of Honor inductee Bruce Reichman, and soon-to-be Hall of Honor inductee tomorrow, Mr. Warren Cottle. Coaches, how are you?
Oh, great. Thank you for having us.
Outstanding. Let's give it up for our soon-to-be inductee. Give him a nice little, yeah. All right, awesome. So, gentlemen, how are you?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Yeah. Coach?
No, it's been fun. Yeah. It's actually been a great day. You know, beautiful outside, got golfing in, now I get to enjoy this. So.
Did you get to golf today?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. How was that?
Oh, I lost a lot of balls. Thank God we had a ringer. The guy could play. Otherwise,
yeah.
You know, don't think I can afford that many balls again.
That's why I don't golf. That's my specialty. Yeah. So 300-yard Happy Gilmore shots, but not in the direction that I want.
No.
So, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And there's water out there. Lots of water.
Yeah. Awesome. So it was a good day. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you guys being here. It's not every day. This is definitely a TASCO convention first, where we get to have what will be two Hall of Honor inductees, and all that you all have done for the game. Really appreciate you guys. But before we dive into a little bit more what we're going to talk about here, just how are things? Well, Coach Reichman, we'll start with you.
Oh, they're great. I retired 2 years ago. And
I bet they're great when you're retired.
And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Loving life.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to really, for it to really settle in, I'm retired now. I don't have to worry about stuff, be somewhere at a set time. I'm 100% on my own schedule. And by your own schedule, I mean your wife's. Right?
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think she'd like me to be back at work. But,
Right.
it took me probably about 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
I left school at 3:30 that day, or
Yeah.
4:03, whatever time we got out, and I was done. And it felt like just the world was just opening up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't take a long time.
2 hours, man. I wish.
If that long.
So here's part of the reason why I asked that. So I know you know this. So being a military man, when I retired at the super old age of 38, right, from the military, it was funny because you get used to a certain lifestyle for almost 20 years,
Right.
or for 20 years, and then all of a sudden you got to figure out, what do I wear? You know, something as trivial as that. I didn't have to worry about that for almost 20 years, or for 20 years.
Same
So
uniform.
yeah, exactly. So I always knew where I needed to be, what time, all that stuff. And now, I had to make weird decisions like that, So yeah, that's kind of why I asked that.
Well,
Yeah.
it didn't bother my sleep pattern. I still wake up, before the sun comes up. And, I just don't have anywhere to rush to. So it's
Right.
real nice not to have to worry about, I have to be here by this time or that time.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. And I don't have to wear sweats or navy blue and silver anymore. We're different colors now.
Yeah. Now, Coach Cottle, how about you? So you're kind of retired. You're still coaching, but you're just in a different capacity now. So,
Right.
So what's it like being retired but not being retired?
I'll tell you what, I still wear the same clothes because
Of course.
in the environment that I'm in now,
Yeah.
we don't have to dress up, but it's been 28 years of teaching,
Right.
and so I just go straight into using the same kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun. It's been very, very interesting.
Yeah.
It's different. but just still helping out people and still teaching. And so I enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah, yeah, and very familiar with your work. Great program there at Colleyville Heritage, and all the work that you've done as well for Tasco. So, really, like I said, it's just kind of an embarrassment of riches to have both of you on here. So appreciate y'all. Talk to us before we kind of dive into the key event tomorrow. While you're here, is the vibe, the thoughts. First day here at Tasco at the convention. Initial thoughts, Coach. You're far enough removed, but not really. You're close enough still.
Yeah.
Anything different? Anything strike you differently or catch your eye?
Well, the Tosco, just watching it grow every year from the time I started to come here in the mid-late 80s
Yeah.
to now, to see the population of the attendees at the clinic is phenomenal. Tosco's done a great job. I know they helped me, being a non-soccer guy,
Right.
learn soccer through these
Yeah.
clinics and these
Yeah.
experts they get in here to drill us and things
Right.
like that. So it was real helpful for me. So I still enjoy coming back, mainly for the camaraderie. You know, I miss these guys,
Yeah.
and I only get to see them here at this
Yeah.
convention most of the time.
So from your perspective, right? I know that's it's one of the great stories, one of the fascinating stories where you were originally a football guy, you arrive at El Paso del Valle, and then you learn the game, you help grow the game, you propelled, you build a great program, 2 state titles along the way. But when in that process did it finally flip where you internally started to see yourself as a soccer guy? When do you recall? There has to be a moment.
Yeah, I'm sure there was. I can't recall right away. I just remember the first couple weeks out there trying to figure out what do I do with 120 guys that want to try out for this sport and
Right.
not knowing positions or anything. Just watching them drill and watching the athleticism that it took
Yeah.
to play the game. You know, football, we were very robotic.
Right.
You know, we call a play, this one does that one does that, defense reacts this way, you do this, you do that. Soccer, it was split-second thinking
Yeah.
by the players themselves.
Right, right.
And that's what impressed me so much. So the game hooked me as soon as I started to watch the kids play. And that enticed me to learn more and do more and
Yeah.
just do what I could do to help the
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
achieve
Gotcha.
their potential.
Awesome. Coach Cottle, how about you?
I'm gonna jump back in on Bruce for a second.
You can't steal his, man. You can't steal.
Well, actually, I'm not. It's because that's one of the things that in the career I've had and the time I've had and been a coach. If I was to start off with somebody starting, whether it be somebody coming up from being a professional or somebody from the football background, if you need somebody to look at as far as a mentor and idea, this is the gentleman you need to see right here.
Right. Right.
Because I think through, the humility and the things that he's done, what an unbelievably powerful example for everybody in our
Absolutely.
profession to follow. So
Absolutely.
my hat's off. I mean, I'm serious.
He's
There's,
fighting the tears.
but there's very few people that I think, that I could honestly think are more humble.
Right.
That, he'll never tell you how great he is, but we all know he is. And there's very few, even fewer people that'll actually honestly come about that.
Yeah.
But heart of hearts, this is the guy. So.
Yeah, man. He's got Netflix movies made after him and everything else. I was like,
I got
man.
the signed poster. So,
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah.
to me, that's always been a powerful, reflection of what it is to be.
Yeah.
To be right. So, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
extremely honored
Yeah.
and humbled just being in the same room with this gentleman.
Yeah. So I'll throw this one back to you, Coach Cottle. Your thoughts now. How do you feel the state of Texas high school soccer, our sport, where it's at right now, what it's been building to, where you see it right now, and where do you see it going in maybe the next 3 to 5 years?
It's actually a really good thing and also a very scary thing. Because if you look like, the politics of it, with the way the legislature goes, we hope that school athletics will stick around. I'm sure it will because I think it's such a big part.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, just in the role and capacity I serve in now, you're starting to see the respect of the high school coach come up. Where in the past, in the first few years, it was the stereotypical, no offense to Bruce, but it was that football coach didn't know anything.
Yeah.
But just in the time that I've seen and the programs that I've been around, that's starting to flip. Where now some of your most knowledgeable coaches are soccer coaches that are high school coaches. And then the profession, they're educators, they're teachers.
Right.
To where, even in some of the federation stuff that I deal with, the federation is looking for teachers. They want people that know how to educate.
Right.
And you're not going to find a better group of people to lead that charge than somebody who's in the classroom fighting it day in and day out.
Right.
Has to go through the different processes of teaching and learning. And so I think that really brings out a lot. And then to add to that, there's very few programs outside of like a college or professional where you're seeing your kids every day.
Right.
Where our coaches
So
will
big.
deal with them.
So big.
And so I think the landscape has changed quite a bit, and I think it's going to continue to grow. But it's the gentleman that carried us today was a 2A soccer coach. How powerful is that? Then we're starting to go into to those other schools where it doesn't cost the school district a lot of money. But if you look at the the socioeconomic background or look at the cultural background of a lot of our schools, especially in West Texas,
Right.
a big part of your population is going to play the game, is growing up in the game. And so
Yeah.
I'm really excited about where it's going.
Awesome. Yeah. Coach, how about you?
Just watching the youth soccer and the numbers that are coming in from the youth soccer because of people like Warren that are directing it and going out and just really promoting the game. I think that's a great thing, and I think that's going to help U.S. soccer in the long run. And
Yeah. We
they
hope.
need it.
We hope, right? Next
Yep.
year's a big year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thoughts on that? Anything you guys had a chance? They're just U.S. men's national team in particular coming off of a big result, right? Just recently with Uruguay. Thoughts on that? You guys get a chance to watch it?
I'll tell you what, that's kind of wild because there's always used to be that armchair quarterback, but none
Right.
of us will ever be on the sidelines. And it's kind of like when you'd have parents reach out, or fans in particular, your high school team, they come in and give their opinion.
Right.
But none of us are in there with Pochettino's in, or
Right.
does what he does, or has the challenges that he faces, because basically he's putting together players. But heck, that result was pretty amazing with players that
was.
were not known.
Yeah.
And so obviously the gentleman's doing his job correctly. Sometimes if we just shut up and let him do his job,
Right. Right. Imagine
maybe
that. Imagine
we'll
that.
find a way to
That'll
see what he's
never-
producing.
That'll never happen.
Imagine that. Yeah, I think what was most amazing about that result was the fact that it was, there was so many sub stories to that, right? The fact that it's a Bielsa led Uruguay, and that's one of his great legendary mentors, and how we're coming into form. It seems like we're coming into form, and I feel like he's finally starting to figure it out. And the question originally was that Uruguay's top A team? I think it's more about the fact that you hit on it, right? It's like there was a lot of MLS guys in that, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why Poch got fired up at that press conference afterwards when he was asked about
100%.
regular guys, and he's like, what is that? What are regular guys, right? The whole point is to compete, no such thing as friendlies, and you defend the shield, right? The crest. So yeah, very much so. It was an eye opening. I was very surprised, but it was good to watch.
What stands out to me too is that sometimes I think the biggest mistake we made a couple years back, and once again, I'm not an expert at that level because I've never trained at that level, but we stuck with players that have been around for a long time, and we kept going, and then we failed.
Went to the well one too many.
Yeah. And so I think, the thing about bringing in what he's done is he's finding those MLS guys, he's finding those younger guys, he's finding the guys to replace. He's got to believe in the system, and he knows what he's doing, and it's starting to turn around. He's starting to find the chemistry and the consistency to go into it. I said, just leave the guy alone.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Right. That's awesome. So, we bring it back to the game, the high school game here. So I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts, both of you, the two of you, just being recently removed from the game. Last year was a very historic season. I've mentioned it in just about every episode here for two particular reasons, right? The Division I, Division II split in playoffs, as well as the mercy rule, right? And in many ways divisive. People understand. They may not agree with it, but most people seem to understand it. May not agree with it, but I guess from your perspectives, How do you guys see it? What's your take on these two? Because I mean, those are the biggest changes to our game since probably at a minimum 2014 with the introduction of 6A, right? The 6A classification. What are your thoughts, Coach?
Oof.
Loaded? No, not loaded, but loaded.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the mercy rule, I think. We're doing too much of that in all the sports, not so much a mercy rule, just with the rule changes that are, we're losing some of the competitiveness. We're too worried about feelings and this and that. Hey, if you have the dogs, then come on and put it to me so I can work to get better so I don't get beat like that anymore.
If only more people thought like that, Coach. If only more people thought. I know. I hear you.
Look at the NFL.
I hear you.
You can't hit the quarterback here. You can't do this. You can't do that. No, come on.
Yeah.
It just doesn't pan out. So I'd like to see, if you, like I said, more competitiveness for it.
Coach.
So I'm going to be the exact opposite. But I can see at some point, but when you're seeing scores of 12-0 and somebody now has come to a district meeting because they've scored 20 goals on some poor little team that can barely field 11 players.
True. Yeah.
Sometimes I can see where it's coming in. Now, if it comes down to we're in a district play and we're equal, we should be, and you can put 5 goals on me, and then I got it. But when it's like I just take some of those West Texas schools. I don't want to obviously name anybody, but you take a team from Dallas, that has 70, 80 kids in their program, and then you go play a small West Texas team that maybe struggles to get 13 kids.
Right.
And out of that 13, only 7 are players. And then you're going to decide that this is going to be, Jimmy's, come claim to fame, so we're going to put him up for All-State because he put 7 or 8 goals on a team.
Padding the stats, yeah.
But
I got you.
that's the only part I could see where there's some people out there that, because anybody's been in the game long enough's been on both sides of the equation. So I've been on it where I've gotten pounced, and I've been on the other side where you're now working on things and you're finding, okay, guys, let's work it around. But
yeah,
that's a tough one.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I tell that story all the time. Well, not on the podcast, but I've told the story plenty of times. Last year, my girls, right, when I was at San Antonio MacArthur, in the area round, we went up, we got mercy ruled versus Cedar Park, right? Only time it happened all year. Only time it happened. And it was there was like 8 minutes left in the match when it finally happened. But they were clearly, obviously, the better squad on that day. But the part that's missing in all of that beyond just the scoreboard is that was not just any Cedar Park team. That was a team that, as soon as that match was over, I was like, that's a state contender. And what happened? Sure enough, 2.5 weeks later, they're lifting the trophy in Georgetown. So that wasn't just any team. Right. So, and I felt like that was important for my girls to watch, my players to see, to experience. But as a coach, that was important for me to see up close as well, just from the standpoint of not only their quality of play, but their depth, right? They, Coach Poole had, damn near another starting 11 come in off the bench. Like, that was the depth part. So that was an important piece that I think sometimes can get lost, right? So we shift gears here. We start talking about the man. You are the man of the hour, one of the 3 men of the hour, right? Soon to be.
With that.
Yeah, with the Hall of being inducted into the Hall of Honor tomorrow night, Coach. How does that? Have you processed that at all? Have you stopped to even think about that? What does that mean? Like, can't be too humble. You got to let us in a little bit more. What are your thoughts on that? What does that mean when you just kind of say that to yourself, or you were informed, hey, you're getting inducted into the Tasco Hall of Honor? How does that make you feel?
Well, I was speechless whenever they called and told me. So I mean, that alone was a special moment, and it means a lot.
Right.
And I'd be lying to say if it didn't matter. But then, when I back up and I look at, like the gentleman sitting to my right, you look at all the other people that have been there, and, to have my name amongst those names, to me, it's very, very special.
Yeah.
It is humbling because there's a lot of people that have done a lot of things to get the organization where it is.
Yeah.
From the early days, because I remember back to when we were at Georgetown, and the Tasco Clinic was actually part of the state tournament.
Yeah.
And you go to Georgetown University or whatever, and or no, Southwestern University.
Southwestern, yeah.
Not Georgetown, obviously. But you go to Southwestern and you'd see a clinic, then you come back out. And then we went to San Antonio. And then luckily I got blessed to be a part of that group, you know, and then it's morphed and every year it's gotten better. And hats off to the members of Tasco leadership now, because I think every year it gets a little bit better. I mean, obviously it's got to change as it grows in the sport, you know, it grows in the, as far as the high school soccer in general. I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. Awesome. So any words of advice, Coach, for Coach Cottle's speech tomorrow as he gets ready to go? Because it's different when you're speaking in front of your peers, right? You're kind of giving that to your peers. It's not a normal. You can speak in front of like 500 students, you know, student athletes, whatever, or even with parents. But when you're speaking to your peers, it's got to be a little different. So, any words of advice?
Well, I know when he called me and told me that he got the call that he was in, first thing that came to my mind is it's about darn time. You know, he's done so much for the organization and, you know, president of it twice, right?
No, just one
Just
time.
once, oh, okay. But he, you know, he'd just been Tosco for so long
Yeah.
that, you know, he's long overdue to get in.
So, no words of advice for the speech tomorrow? No? Anything?
Just tell your story, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did start off, you know, said, got the speech written down.
Yeah.
When I was 1 year old, I did this, and we're going to go through all 55 years.
So you got it all
I wouldn't
set?
do-
You got
I
it all
wouldn't
kind of written out or laid out, ready to go?
Yeah, I never write it out. I just have bullet points or ideas,
Yeah,
main
yeah,
key points, and so
yeah.
we'll go and flow and tell a story, and hopefully it's halfway interesting, and, you know, we'll come out and see what happens.
Yeah. Over, under, Coach Reichman, what do you think? 15 minutes, over, under, what do you take?
I'll say he'll be right about 15. He's got a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I
Good
think
deal.
he'll be there.
Yeah.
Golly,
So-
no pressure.
So we have one additional question here for you guys, kind of putting you guys on the spot here a little bit. Coach Reichman, we'll start with you. If you could introduce one change to the high school game,
Wow.
one amendment, whatever, modification, whatever, what would it be?
I wouldn't even know how to write that. I would like to see something be done with the consistency of the refs. That's just my thing, but there's nothing you can do to control that.
Right.
But yeah, that's a change I'd like to
Yeah.
see, that there has to be consistency, because one, let's say for offsides, one sees it one way and then you switch sides at half and the other guy on the other sideline doesn't see it. You know, so more
Yeah.
consistency on that part. And I don't know how they'd implement that.
Right, yeah.
VAR in high school.
Tough one. Hawkeye, we need Hawkeye. So, Coach Cottle, how about you?
Yeah, that's a tough one, you know, because I mean,
We ask all the tough questions here. Man.
No, that's the truth. Sometimes I wonder if it penalizes us a bit to not be able to train some of our kids after school. You know, so I mean, there's times when I know that you know, looking back on the days that I had, luckily the rules have changed quite a bit since the first years where he'd had the hour before school and you could meld that into it to train. So
Yeah.
that'd be a possibility, but I know we take a killing sometimes with, you know, the club and the high school, you know, conflict, which is really weird because coming in
Right.
the role that I have now, it's both ways, you know, because you look at talking to both sets of coaches, both of us feel the same way.
No sport seems to sabotage itself more than us when
Yeah.
it comes to all that. When it
Oh,
comes to that.
absolutely.
Well, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, you know, because
Yeah.
this may be totally away from your question, but I thought if we ever get them together, think how powerful it is.
Imagine
be
that.
for the kids. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Well, we're starting to work on it.
Yeah.
I think we've got ideas up north.
Yeah, there's a
to get
lot.
that
There's a
done.
lot of pockets that are in not just in Texas, around the country, that are great stories. You know,
Yes.
I've heard some of the great stories about club coaches reaching out to their teams about, hey, go support your teammate this weekend. So and so is playing for a regional championship, playing for a state championship, something. You know, I've heard a lot of those great stories, and they're sharing it on their, you know, whatever their platform is that they communicate, sharing it with parents as well. So, and that's awesome. You know, that's awesome. We were never supposed to be on opposite sides of the aisle. So I don't know, why that is.
There's a podcast in itself right there for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah,
I'm going to just touch on that a bit, though. That really boils down to the person that cares about their kids.
Absolutely.
So if it becomes about me, then you have one or the other.
Yeah.
But when it comes about caring about your kids, then you support them, whether they be club or whether it be high school.
Yeah. I
So,
agree. Well said. Extremely well said. We're talking with Coach Bruce Reichman and Coach Warren Cottle, both recently retired Texas high school soccer coaches. And Coach Reichman, Hall of, what year was it, Coach?
2012.
2012.
they're still
Hall of
doing
Honor.
They're
What's-
doing Roman numerals in those days still.
2012 Hall of Honor inductee.
Pictures,
And
cards,
yeah.
chiseled in stone.
and Coach Warren Cottle, who is slated to be inducted into tomorrow inductee ceremony tomorrow night, be a 2025 Hall of Honor inductee. Gentlemen, really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Before we let you go, as we start to transition and start to wrap up, I want to give you all both the opportunity. I've been doing it with everybody as of late, so kind of been peppering you guys with questions for the last 25 minutes, and now the opportunity to throw one back my way. Is it, whatever's on your minds that relates to our game, the podcast, high school soccer, what have you? The floor is yours, Coach Cottle. Yeah,
Oh, you got it first?
yeah.
Yeah,
Put you on the
actually,
spot.
I'm a big podcast fan ever since I moved to the Metroplex, when I've got an hour-and-a-half drive.
Oh,
everywhere
yeah.
I go.
To drive
And
5
so-
miles, right? To drive,
no
yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
And so as you start to see it morph now, where I think podcasting has become really I guess, more realistic, so we're not getting one way or the other as far as the way people feel. There's not really any, bias or whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
How do you see it changing just from your perspective, getting information out there, especially because newspapers are no longer a thing, especially within the high school game. That used to be a big deal when we first started.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what changes have you seen come up?
So what changes? How do I see it as far as change?
Or where's it going? Because to me, I see the power of what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I would say this from being a podcaster, right? I kind of stumbled across this by accident, right? Next month will be 5 years that we launched the podcast. I was in El Paso at Isleta. We were what, 8 months into the pandemic, right? And for those of you that were in El Paso, we couldn't go anywhere, right, forever. So what were we all doing during the pandemic? We were stuck at home, right? So I launched it then, and kind of only by happenstance, just because people kept asking kind of that question. It's like, hey, have you ever thought about it? Blah, 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 blah. Excuse me. So finally decided to, with the whole point of just that, of being one more instrument to bring our community, coaches together, right? Our sport, help grow it, right? And I felt that one of the things that I noticed was in that process, because it was a slow process in the beginning, but all those years going back to probably 06, 07, when I was listening to podcasts, before anybody really knew what a podcast was, little did I know that I was kind of receiving, that was all future on-the-job training that I was receiving, right? In terms of just flow, structure, format, pace, all of these different things. And so what I've learned in that time, in these 5 years, is that most podcasts don't make it to, the biggest thing is hit record, right? And just start going. Most podcasts don't make it to 50 episodes, partially because they're chasing the likes, they're chasing the downloads, they're chasing the clout. And I think there's definitely an excess of probably approaching 2 million podcasts around the world. But of those 2 million, now active is a different story, because most don't make it to 50, and you're in the 1% of active podcasters, if you make it to 100 episodes, right? So all of that to say that I feel that where it's headed, I think, not to bring in politics, but recent election, we saw how that can impact stuff, right? For all the same reasons that you're saying, that people are kind of questioning credibility, right? Credibility of people delivering information. So I think in the end, if people, more than if just people like you, but if you're sincere, if you're genuine, and if you're more than anything, if you're consistent, people will tune in, right?
That's fair.
And you change it up. In this case, we got two great retired soccer coaches on here, right? It's always trying to engage from a different angle, right? ask different questions, but I think be sincere. One of the things that we'll always promise here is that we don't shy. We say it all the time. We do 99% of all of our podcasts are live, right? So our hiccups, our screw ups, everything, our mess ups, you see it. And we don't shy away from it. Just like today, got started a couple hours late because of technical issues, right? But I feel where podcasts, the credibility of it will continue to grow. What that looks like involved with AI, who knows, right? Who knows? But I think it's a matter of information. Information is important, and one of the big things I feel with particularly with podcasts, is to listen to different things that challenge you, and not just listen for affirmation, meaning just the stuff that you're going to agree with, but listen to stuff that you might not agree with, right? Or stuff that's going to challenge you and make you ask the questions that you normally wouldn't have thought of, right?
That's huge.
So, but we'll see. I think that, that the podcast mediums of the world, that I think it's truly, it's independent media at this point is what it really is, right?
Right.
And because we all know just where media is and how it is trusted or not trusted at this point, traditional media, right? It's it's very much in question, obviously.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So what are your 2 or 3 go-to podcasts?
My go-to list. Oh my God. I'm honestly, because I have like a series of them, so I'm always jumping around.
So give me your
So of course, my traditional one that I grew up listening to was Joe Rogan, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right,
fair
Joe
enough.
Rogan one. Another one that I listen to pretty regularly, believe it or not, and because sometimes the way he sees the game, it's like I disagree with it. He annoys me, but I still think it's entertaining. Is the State of the Union podcast with Alexi Lawless,
Okay.
right? Different ones. I jump around a lot. So yeah, I think it just varies. Sometimes it's just what am I in the mood for?
Gotcha.
I think it's more than that. Or sometimes you tune in based upon who the guest is, So it just kind of depends.
100%.
Yeah. So, Coach, how about you?
Yeah, your question. I'm going to change gears and throw it back to you. You're
Yeah.
still coaching. Where do you want to see the game going, and what changes would you like to see in the
Good
game?
job.
Well,
played.
what's funny? So today, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. I think it might have been with Coach Rob Rush, earlier today. We talked about what I would love to see selfishly, just because I love it. I think it's a great thing, having been a college coach myself at one time, and then of course it was gone forever, and then now it's effective in the tournament. Is the golden goal? I would love something or bring it back at least in the state playoffs. Because very rare do we get to have that in our sport. That's just like a walk-off, an immediate finisher. And I feel from that standpoint of when you're progressing in tournament play, why do we have to play 20 minutes if we don't have to? And I use the example of my squad at my girls at San Antonio MacArthur 2 years ago, where we're playing Liberty Hill area round of the playoffs, and we're taking it to them. We have them we're on the verge, can't get it done, and then the worst thing happened to us was regulation ended, right? They get 5 minutes to regroup, they come back out, and then 5 minutes into that first overtime period, we get a bad deflection followed by an own goal right after that, and then the wheels come off, and then we lost 4-0. But we still had to play out. We still had to play out those 20 minutes, So I don't know. That's just one, and I mentioned that only because I mentioned it earlier today. But something I think as cool as that, as special as that. It baffles me how people are against sometimes golden goal, but then these are the same people that are always against penalties. Like, oh my God, what a bad way to end the game. It's like, dude, because my take on it has always been, then settle it when you can control it. Yeah. Otherwise, if you have 100 minutes and you still can't get it done, I think you've lost a certain percentage to argue. So I don't know. My thoughts.
How about that 35-yard shootout again?
I don't know. I think as a novelty, maybe. I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. You recall the year, I think, wasn't it around 2012? When did that go away? We were having that conversation.
No, it was earlier than that, wasn't it?
Was it 10, 12, 9?
I think it was like 7, wasn't it?
Was it that far back?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for some reason, I had like
think.
2010, 2012 in my head.
So I was at Permian the last time I think I remember seeing it. So that'd
Looked
be
like
02.
a hockey penalty or something. 1v1.
All right, we start to wrap up here. Coaches, really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Want to give you the opportunity for final thoughts, anything you want to share, shout-outs, thank yous, anything that's on your mind that relates to our game, anything. The floor is yours. Coach Reichman, we'll start with you.
Just to you for the podcast. It keeps soccer in mind and keeps us going. So we appreciate the work you do.
Sir. Appreciate
Good
you.
job.
Thank you, Coach. It means a lot coming from an El Paso legend. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Coach Cottle?
Well, you just stole my stuff.
Sorry. That's why I go first.
No, hey, thank you very much for having us out and taking the time. Because I know this is not an easy setup. You got a beautiful, studio thing you built here.
Thank you, man. I
So,
appreciate you.
No, it's really neat. It's top notch. So thank
Yeah.
you for your time and listening.
And congratulations again, Coach. Really
Oh,
appreciate
thanks,
you.
sir.
Let's give him one more hand, one more applause.
So,
Soon to be Hall of Honor inductee, Coach Cottle. And for our listeners, we'll be coming back shortly. We'll try to get in one more episode tonight. Yeah, we started late, so we want to make sure we get in at least 5. Coming back shortly with another great guest. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more coverage from the 2025 Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention here in beautiful Moody Gardens. You've been listening to the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on X at 50_50pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening.